Hi everyone and welcome to Club 5 episode 9 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we've reached the end point of the calendar year. We're halfway through our first season in the Premier League, just about to go into the January transfer window, and we play the mighty Manchester City as our last game of this particular calendar year. Now, I say mighty. They might not be quite as mighty as you might have expected. They're sitting currently down in 10th. There's a lot of changes that have happened over the last sort of 8 or 9 years in the Premier League. And maybe this is one of them. And currently, they don't have a manager. Can we make the most of that? Let's find out. As I was saying, a lot has changed, I think, in the sort of 8 or 9 years since the game started, or however long it is, 8 years or so. If we go into the league table, you can see Leicester sitting top of the table, Newcastle, Wolves, Brighton, all in the top 7. The likes of Man United, Man City and Tottenham outside of that top 7 at the moment. And currently, Tottenham and Man City have both had their managers sacked. So that's my question of the day, really, for you guys. If we go and have a look in the job centre, Villa, Tottenham, Man City, all managerless. Would you be applying for the the Man City job, should I say, and the Tottenham job if you were in my situation? We are basically a season into our reign as Watford manager, half in the Championship and now half in the Premier League. We haven't been here for very long. I think we're doing okay in the Premier League. We'll check ourselves out in a minute, but I think we're sitting in about 11th to 13th, somewhere around there, which is roughly where we want to be, really. So would you apply for these jobs? Have I got a good enough reputation yet? I'm still working on all of my coaching badges as well. If we go and have a look at my profile, you'll see that I'm currently on the Continental B licence. So I've got A and Pro to go, I think, something like that. So I'm not quite at the height of that yet. Would you wait and do those things here at Watford first? I have only just completed one, so I'm not sure they'd allow me to do another one, but I can certainly start that and see what happens in the next couple of days. But yeah, that's my question. What would you do? Would you try and keep applying for these big jobs, unsettle the Watford board who are a little bit trigger happy sometimes anyway? Or would you stick it out at Watford, try and build them up a little bit, push them up the table over a couple of seasons and then try and go for one of those big jobs? The other thing to say, last time I did a Rolling in the Isles, I did end it with Man City. Do I want to be doing that again? Or do I want to wait for one of the other big jobs to come up? Lots of questions. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But for today, we're just about to approach a January transfer window. There's potentially some business we can do. We've got a lot of money in the bank. We've got 37 million in the transfer budget and 180k a week in the wage budget. So I could make some moves in the January window if I can find the right type of player. So that's going to be fun to do. But for now, we concentrate on the league fixture away from home at Manchester City. Our recent form hasn't been particularly good, if I'm totally honest. Since you and I were together last for the Bournemouth match, 1-1 draw, we brilliantly beat Chelsea 2-0. And we really looked fantastic. And I thought, this is something that's going to really push us forward. Unfortunately, Liverpool were up next and they put a stop to it. We got a very, very tight 1-0 win against bottom of the table Leeds. And then the last 2 matches have been interesting. Those 2 teams up in that top 7, Everton and Brighton, that maybe you wouldn't expect to be there. We came up against both of those at our home ground. And we only lost both of those games by 1 goal. We lost 3-2 to Brighton and 1-0 to Everton. So we're competing quite well. Just need a little bit of luck and maybe a little bit more steel somewhere in our setup. So I'm thinking about that for January, but we'll see. But for now, Man City, managerless, struggling a little bit for who they are. Can we take advantage of that? It's going to be tricky away from home, isn't it? Let's find out. So we got 2 main absentees from today's match. One is Vieira. He's on his way back from being out for weeks and weeks with a problem that he's had injury-wise, but he's not far from coming back, so that's really important for us for this second half of the season coming up. So he's going to be a good addition back into the squad. The other one, unfortunately, for today is Adam Ryan, our central defender. If we click over here, you'll see he's very, very good. He's doing really well for us as well, but he's on loan from Manchester City and he can't play against his parent club. So he unfortunately misses out on the game today. Other than that, everybody else is doing all right. We've got a couple of fitness issues. Kamara has dropped out of this central midfield role. Jackson comes in just because his conditioning means he needs a bit of a rest, unfortunately. We've got the likes of Giabi having to play a little bit just for the balance of my side and just to keep everybody else fit and healthy. Other than that, everybody else looks reasonable at the moment, although we could do with a little bit of a break. But anyway, that's not going to happen over the Christmas period here, is it? That's what it's like in England. So we will get on and play the game. So for today's match against Man City, away from home, we go with Bursic in goal, Ramsey at right back, Fowlon at left back, Collins and Mbete in central defence, Nakai, Jackson and Giabi in central midfield, Douglas in that shadow striker role with George and Scarlett ahead of him, and a bunch of people on the bench should they be needed. So let's see how we get on today. So even if I'm a little bit doubtful about this, there might be just a slightly fragile Manchester City in front of us today. So we're going to try and do our best to unsettle them. So I've pumped the fist and basically said the pundits might not back us today, but the fans do. So let's go and make them proud. See if we can rile up the players a little bit before the start of the game and see what we can do. I am expecting a good performance from Man City because why wouldn't we? They're supposed to be favourites for the title this season. They're just very, very much underperforming. So we'll see what happens. They come in with a 4-4-2 and we'll see whether we can cope with that. That means that we'll potentially flood the central midfield area. They'll get a little bit of width, space in some width and wide areas, should I say. So it's going to be an interesting game and see what happens. But they're on the attack again down the left-hand side. We clear the ball. We win it in that second ball phase. And then we try and go over the top for Scarlett. He holds the ball brilliantly well, gets it back again, puts a fantastic shot away from really on quite a way out on top of the penalty box. And the goalkeeper does not get down quick enough at all. Really good play by Scarlett. Holds the ball nicely there, drops it back to Gabby, goes again. The defence can't quite close him down enough. And it just gets that glimmer of space and puts it into that bottom corner. And we go 1-0 up after 12 minutes. There's going to be a highlight straight from kickoff from Man City. That doesn't bode well for us, does it really? They're going to be really cross now, you'd imagine. And they're probably going to try and outpass us, but they don't. And Kyle George nicks the ball from them, charges down on the goalkeeper, and he has to parry it away for a corner kick. Really fantastic start so far. Can we capitalise on this one? A corner kick comes in, the header goes at goal, and Ederson has to do something about it and holds onto the ball quite nicely at that point. But this has been pretty good so far. We have to be aware, though, that Man City, before we got our goal, did have a couple of opportunities themselves, and they were looking reasonable, and we're a little bit fortunate there. The ball comes in from that far right-hand side for them, and we just about get it out for a corner kick. Corner comes in deep, causes us all sorts of problems, and eventually we're again a bit lucky that nobody could stick a foot out properly and bash that into the back of the net, and eventually the goalkeeper figures that one out. So little bit shaky, but just at the moment we're doing all right. City come in with a corner kick. We again get it cleared off the line by a defender, so they are still putting the pressure on. A throw in for us, though. We're quite deep in our own half. Can we find a way to break through the lines? Scarlett does just that. Holds the ball nicely. Nakai supporting from the Metzala roll. Then puts a little bit of a bad ball out for the right side. But we just about secure it. Scarlett. Wow. Okay, so really bad ball onto this right-hand side, but Ramsey figures a way to make it work for him, keeps the ball in, passes it into midfield, and Jackson into Douglas, the shadow striker, and then Scarlett makes that run behind the defender, gets the ball in front of him in his path, and slots it home past the goalkeeper again, and we go 2-0 up at 31 minutes. Now, I was hoping that we would put this sort of performance in against a slightly fragile Man City, but I didn't dare expect it would actually happen necessarily. And again, we're on the ball, 35 minutes into the game. Into midfield, Douglas drops in to get involved in play. So does George. Nakai takes over. Where's the Scarlett run? It's not him this time. It's Kyle George through on goal. He can't quite manage to make it, unfortunately. The goalkeeper does enough to parry it away for another corner kick. But we broke through their lines again, which is amazing to see. They are a club that's obviously struggling just at the moment, and there's a lack of confidence somewhere in their team, which I will hopefully be able to capitalise on through the rest of this game, although there is still 45 minutes still to come, and they will be very, very cross, you'd imagine, and up for the second half if possible. We win the header in the defensive unit again, though, and get the ball out. Giabi tries to go over to the Scarlet, probably needed to go into his feet at that point rather than over the top, but just kind of made the wrong decision, and Man City win the ball back and try and get back at us, working it very nicely across the pitch from left to right. Their one-touch football, if they choose to do it, is still pretty spectacular, isn't it? And they do get a goal just before half-time. We were nowhere near them all the way through that bit of movement of the ball. It was just very quick, one-touch passing most of the time, and we just couldn't quite cope with that. And Otavio gets through on goal and actually puts a really good shot away. The goalkeeper couldn't do anything about that one. And we go to 2-1 just before half-time. Oh, there's another Man City highlight. Please don't lose the 2-goal lead before half-time. That would be really disappointing. We've done really well. And just in the last few minutes again, they've turned the screw on us. Here comes the opportunity, and it's slightly fortunate. I thought for a second they might have pushed him and given a penalty, but they do get another header, and it goes wide of the goal on this occasion. And there's a highlight still left in this first half. At the moment, it's for us, but nope, Man City win the ball in their defensive unit, and again, they're going to come back at us. I'm really kind of worried about this one. It feels like we're going to be losing our lead before half-time. And, they get through again and do put the shot away, but the goalkeeper manages to just get something on it for a corner kick. The pressure isn't over yet. And there it is. You could feel it. You could feel it coming. The last 10 minutes of that half, they were absolutely all over us. And they battered on the door, and eventually the door gave way. And from another corner kick, Rice charges in from deep and gets the jump on everybody else and powers the header into the back of the net. I'm actually really disappointed. We were at a half hour, we were 2-0 up and looking really amazing. And then 44th minute and the 48th minute of injury time, 3 minutes of injury time, they got 2 goals in those two. And we're back to 2-2, and that changes the momentum of the game. But what can we look at and find the positives from? The possession, they've absolutely dominated. They've absolutely dominated the XG rating as well. But we've had the same amount of shots at goal, and we've had more on target than they have. So the chances are there for us. I feel like we might have to rile them up a little bit at half-time and maybe set them on a slightly more attacking path, maybe, just to see if we can change the momentum early in this second half. So let's see what we can do. Let's point the finger. Let's go a little bit disappointed with the possession so far. Things have to improve. We're going to go into the tactics. We're going to change this up a little bit. What have we got to lose, sort of? A point would be amazing, kind of, at Man City, but we need to try and win this game because there's still something in this for us, I feel. So we're going to go positive to start with. In possession, we're going to slightly shorten the possession but speed up the tempo and see if we can keep the ball a little bit. Actually, no, we're not going to speed up the tempo. We're just going to shorten the passing and see if we can keep it. We're going to narrow ourselves down a little bit. We're going to dribble less. Try and make the ball do the work for us a little bit. In transition, we're going to put the counter press on and the counter attack. We're going to take away over the top and we're going to work through the lines and see if we can find a way to keep that ball a little bit, because that's what we talked about in the actual team talk itself, was trying to find a way to keep the ball more. We're going to put the higher line on, but we're also going to lower the line of engagement, try and squeeze the play up a little bit, keep ourselves a little bit more compact and see if that will help us. Anything else? Yes, I need to improve that. So I think that'll do. And we'll see what happens in the second half. Now, I mean, Man City, it kind of feels like this might be trying to play Man City at their own game a little bit, and that might come unstuck. But ultimately, the momentum is with them in the first place. So we've got to try something different. Unfortunately, what's looking so far is that it's more of the same. First couple of highlights in this second half have both been for City. They've yet to find a way to properly get a shot at goal, but it's coming again if we're not careful. And they've worked down the left-hand side. They're going to get the cross into the near post, and there's a near post. That's really disappointing defending to me. More than anything else, we can talk about how I've set my team up, but nothing of the defensive style has really changed within our box. And they had a player they had a 2-on-1 on near post in their favour. And that is really poor defending. You'd hope that your players have enough intelligence to be able to follow players around the pitch a bit. But obviously, on this occasion, they don't. And City have really got their tails up now. I feel like we're on a bit of a losing battle here, whatever we try. But we are going to continue to try. So we get a free kick, but it's cleared by a header from Man City, but we'll win the loose ball. So we've got it centrally in midfield. Jackson on the ball at the moment, trying to find some runners ahead of him. Where's the runners? There's the runner from Douglas. He just drifted away from his marker and got a shot at goal, but the goalkeeper parries it away and the defenders eventually clear it. At least we got through. At least we created something for an opportunity at goal, which is good. So there is still a chance in there for us. We're still keeping up with them in terms of the shots at goal, etc. We're just not got quite the quality maybe that they have when we get there. But Douglas wins the ball again. Scarlett off on a run, takes an early shot on this occasion, probably too early. He was quite a way outside of the box and it goes narrowly wide. Could have just carried on charging down on that defender, but didn't make that choice on that occasion. Can we win the ball here? It goes a little bit loose for a minute, and we do. We do win the ball back, and then we give it back and win it back again. Nobody wants it. Who's going to win this one eventually and get the chance at goal? Douglas through to Scarlett. Oh, we're being very lucky, and Nakai takes over the ball, and Ramsey supports on the right-hand side. Surely there's one chance in here after all of this, and there isn't. Man City have won the ball back. It's one of those highlights where it goes, you have it, we have it, you have it, we have it, you have it. And eventually, unfortunately, it's looking like City are the ones that are coming away with it to actually create a chance. They've worked the ball very nicely from left to right and back over to left again. Oh, sometimes Football Manager just wants to make you scream out in frustration, really, because we had the ball so many times in that period of play. And eventually, a sweeping move. Our style of play is not working for us. I've made the wrong choices, it feels like, to go the way that we did. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back on ourselves. We're going to go back into the tactical page. And what I'm going to do is, instead of the clean slate, I'm going to go in. What do I want to do? Let's get rid of some of these for a second. Just bear with me for a second. That's what I wanted to get to, the load menu. And we're going to go in here and we're going to load back up the original setup that we have in this stuff. It's more attacking, it's more high tempo, goes over the top, all that kind of stuff. We're going to put it back in and see what happens. Kamara is a big miss for a central midfield but he was so jaded we have to give him some rest at times. And again, chat, this is... why am I calling you chat? This is not Twitch. I'm over on Twitch every weekday afternoon, by the way, but this is not Twitch. So, oh dear. Anyway, my fullbacks don't play well. It's a big problem to me. I don't quite know how to figure it out. But again, foul on a 6.2, for goodness sake. And if I put Bakker in, which I'm going to have to do, he's got like a 6.4 average rating for the season. It's so dreadful. And I really can't quite figure out exactly why. Because they were like it in the Championship as well. So it's not like they're just because they're not quite as good as everybody else. Because they were doing it in the Championship. Anyway, it's driving me to distraction. I can't tell you how much it is. And we've got a lot of very, very tired players at the moment. Giabi has come in. He's not going to be able to see the game out. Mosquera comes back in to finish the game for him. That will increase our quality a little bit in midfield. We were resting him for various reasons as well. So this is a rotated team a little bit that we've had to put out today. So in that sense, I'm not surprised that we've got the result that we've kind of got. But on the other hand, ultimately, we were 2-0 up. It was so unfortunate, wasn't it? It just got the hopes up a little bit, and now it's been all City since then. We're going to have to rile them up for a little bit, so we'll fire them up for the last 15 minutes of the game. Again, City have a header at goal, but this time the goalkeeper sorts that one out for us. He's going to clear it long. Can we get a drop of the ball? We can't. The defenders sort that one out on this occasion, and they go back to the goalkeeper. And again, City come through the lines. Oh, no. Oh, that was a good job that he had a really poor shot at the end there, wasn't it, really? Sterling, bless him, thank you very much for messing that one up, because we messed ourselves up again and they got another chance. And here we go again. We're not as good as Man City, folks, are we really? That's the simple reality. Whether they got a manager or not, whether they're fragile or not, we had our chance at the beginning of the game. If after sort of 30 minutes when we were 2-0 up, if I'd have closed the game down, they would have done this to us anyway. They would have outpassed us and found their way through if we just try and batter them. It just wouldn't have worked. So I feel like it's just a step too far for us potentially. But if we could get another goal and just close that gap up to 1 goal again, like we have done in the last couple of games, even though it's a losing effort potentially, it would close the gap and show that we are competing just about with some of these teams, and maybe a few tweaks along the way wouldn't actually take too long to put Watford slightly higher up in the division maybe. But we didn't manage to take our own chances, and City have taken another one of theirs. 5-2 now with a couple of minutes left. It's not been our day. I kind of never thought it would be until they gave me false hope to go 2-0 up. But there we go. It's just one of those things at this moment. We are on a little bit of a downward form again, unfortunately, having picked up more recently. So we're in the new year, we've got to find a way to get back to that, get a couple of good wins under our belt somehow anyway, really, and just see if we can get some momentum from it. Douglas through on goal for us, and then the defender blocks it, and they not only they block it, it goes straight to their player, and they clear it to one of their players, and immediately they're down the other end at the top of our box, having another strike at goal and another goal. And that's Man City for you. That's the difference. When we get it, it's a struggle to get it up the pitch, to make it stick, to get people working in and around the strikers and get those shots. And when City win it, within a blink of an eye, they're down the other end of the pitch and they're powering a shot into the back of your net for 6. I kind of feel like we've deserved to lose 6 today, really. After that first half hour, Man City decided, well, we best show up then. And they really, really dominated us all the way through that sort of the last hour of the game, didn't they, really? There's not much you can say to that. I mean, Scarlett did great, got his 2 earlier goals. That's fantastic. But the rest of the team, you can see the defence, the midfield, the goalkeeper, nobody played well. Really, no one did. It's just that front couple of players that were on form today, really, and that's not enough to get a win against Man City. Anyway, it is what it is. We got absolutely thumped, unfortunately. Yeah, never mind. So just before we look at what we're doing next episode, it is really worth saying at this point that whilst we're on a really slightly poor run at the moment again, we are still on schedule for this season. The only intention I have for Watford this season is to keep them up in the Premier League. The media predictions before the start of the season said that we would finish about 16th. We're currently in 14th. So you can see that we are doing pretty well. But we do have to find a way to try and break this run of form as soon as we can. Coming up in the next few matches for us, a couple of tricky games. The likes of Newcastle in there, who are right up the top in the top 4 or 5 of the Premier League. We've also got tricky games in the sense of the likes of Tottenham. Again, managerless Tottenham at the moment, looking for some form. Down in about 15th or something they were last time I saw. So they're going to be a tricky prospect because they're probably a wounded animal. There's lots of challenging games to come. And then we come back out of January. And this is what we're going to be coming back for next episode. And this is not going to be a fun run of fixtures. It's really not. Southampton were one of the favourites for the Premier League this season. I'm not sure they're doing it necessarily, but they are good calibre. Leicester City are top of the league. Everton are in the top 5 or 6. And then you've got Brighton and Man City as well. So Everton, Southampton, Leicester, Brighton, Man City, all in and around that top section of the Premier League this season. And we play them all from the beginning of February onwards. So, yeah, this is going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to get any form of momentum. So we've got to do a little bit of that in January. The likes of Burnley, the likes of Tottenham, if they're a bit fragile. We get a game against Stoke in the Cup. We probably need to win that just to break the momentum a little bit of this downward spiral. So some challenging fixtures to come. What we can do here at Watford, I'm not 100% sure. Whether we can keep them up or not, we're going to absolutely try. But just at the moment, even though we're on that bad run of form, we're actually overall doing all right. And I will take that for now. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments what you would do. Would you be seeking new employment already? Would you show a little bit of loyalty to Watford and build the reputation and do all those coaching badges before you try and get one of those big jobs? All of that kind of stuff. Let me know in the comments below. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by more people. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.